Congratulations, chosen one. If you are listening to this message right now, believe me, it is not by chance. There is a greater reason that brought you here, something far beyond simple curiosity or the decision to click on a video. It feels as if life itself prepared this very moment for you. Maybe you don't even see yourself as chosen. Maybe you even doubt it. But the truth is, even without realizing it, you have already faced battles that many would not endure. You have carried weights that seemed impossible, and yet you are still here, standing, listening to this message. That alone says so much about who you are. I want you to feel right now that this calling is real. I'm not talking about luck nor about coincidence. I'm talking about purpose. There is something special reserved for those who, even in silence, endured long nights, heavy days, and pains no one else saw. You may think you don't deserve it. You may believe you have lost too much, but do not be deceived. Being here in this very moment is already a sign, and every sign carries a message. Before we continue, leave your like to help this content reach other chosen ones. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos, and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I love seeing how far this message is reaching and with whom it is connecting. I know it was not easy to get here. You have lived days when your body woke up, but your soul wanted to stay in bed. Days when getting out of bed felt like carrying an invisible, heavy backpack full of things no one could see. You smiled so your family wouldn't worry. You told your friends, "I'm fine." But inside, your heart was tight, as if you were trying to breathe in a room without windows. Maybe you have known the silent pain, the one that doesn't scream, but slowly eats you from the inside. The pain of looking at your own life and asking, how did I end up here? The pain of giving everything and receiving almost nothing. Of working, fighting, trying to get it right, and still feeling like the world is always 2 steps ahead. You know what it's like to face the night, to stare at the ceiling at 3 in the morning, phone in hand, your mind running after solutions that never come. The bills sitting on the table, the email that doesn't arrive, the answer that never shows up, the opportunity that slips through your fingers. You know the feeling of stepping into the shower to wash away the exhaustion, only to realize the water cannot remove the weight from your chest. And then there is the pain we do not talk about out of shame, the comparison. Watching other people's lives move forward while yours feels stuck. Ready smiles, and yet you ask yourself why things seem so much slower for you. The constant feeling of being late, as if you had missed an important train and were now running through the station trying to reach something that has already departed. And then comes the pain of what did not work out, the project you poured love, time, and hope into, only to see it fail. The relationship you nurtured with care, yet it's still withered. The words you longed to hear but never came, the promises made to you that remain suspended in the air, too light to become reality, too heavy to forget. You have also been strong when no one was watching, strong when you had to swallow your tears in the restroom at work, strong when you held someone else's hand while inside there was no one holding yours, strong when you mentally went over the bills while standing in line at the market, strong when you thought 1,000 times before buying something simple, strong when you pretended the pain didn't hurt as much, just so you could make it through another day. Maybe you questioned your faith, not out of disrespect, but because your heart was tired. You whispered a short, clumsy prayer, and then stayed in silence, waiting to feel something, anything, that would show you that you were not alone. And you felt frustrated when the heavens didn't respond the way you expected. That happens to many good people, to people like you. I recognize your struggle, even the parts you hid from the entire world. I recognize the weight of trying to be strong all the time. I recognize the exhaustion of being the one who solves problems, who listens, who gives support, but is almost never heard. I recognize the knot in your throat when you think about everything you've lost and the fear of losing even more. I recognize the daily effort it takes to hold yourself together in a world that keeps demanding pieces of you. And all of this you feel is real. It is not drama. It is not exaggeration. It is not a lack of gratitude. It is human. It is the sign that you care, that you take life seriously, that you want something greater than simply surviving. It is the sign that you have already walked a long road, and even stumbling you did not give up. Do you have scars? Yes. But scars are also maps. They show where you've been and what you had to face. If at any moment you thought you were alone in this battle, breathe, you are not. There is a place for your pain. And it is not in forgetting, but in recognition. It is looking at it directly and saying, I know who you are. I know what you did to me, and I know that I am still here, because in the end, despite everything, I remain. And that says a lot about me. Maybe your body still feels heavy. Maybe your mind still runs too fast. Maybe your heart is still confused between hope and fear. And that's okay. You don't need to demand perfection from yourself. You don't need to blame yourself for feeling what you feel. Your story is not defined by the hardest moment you lived through, nor by the mistake that hurts you the most to remember. Your story is also built from the days when you tried again, from the times you repeated, I will, when everything around you said you won't. Your steps, even the small ones, matter. Your pauses matter. The way you stood up after the last fall matters. The care you give to others, even when you feel empty, matters. And the person you have managed to be, despite everything, matters a lot. But there is something you need to hear right now. That pain you thought was infinite is not eternal. Even if your mind repeated 1,000 times that it would never end, life always finds a way to show you that nothing lasts forever. Not suffering, not gray days, not the weight that once felt glued to your chest, as if it were part of you. Think for a moment. Remember those times in the past when you swore you couldn't handle it, that situation that felt unbearable, that emptiness that seemed endless. And yet, you survived it all. Somehow, you made it here, and that is proof that nothing, absolutely nothing, has the power to trap you in a cycle of pain forever. I am not saying that the wounds disappeared like magic. Some scars are still there, it's true, but scars don't hurt anymore. They simply tell stories, and your story is about to turn the page. What once was a weight can now become a sign of victory. What once caused tears can now become fuel for strength. What you must understand is this: pain is not a life sentence. It has an expiration date. It screams, it hurts, it wears you down, but it cannot live inside you forever. There comes a moment when it has to leave, because you are not a home for suffering. You are fertile ground for new beginnings. Maybe you still feel its remnants, that memory that insists on coming back. But even those memories, little by little, lose their power. With every new day you allow yourself to live, a piece of the pain quietly leaves. Sometimes in an unexpected smile, sometimes in a simple conversation, sometimes even in the silence of a night when, finally, sleep comes lighter. And when the pain begins to fade, something new is born. A space opens within you. It is like cleaning a dark room and suddenly realizing there is a window, that there is light, that there is air circulating. You realize that the weight is no longer the owner of your life, that what once seemed eternal was, in truth, only temporary. And believe me, that moment has already begun. Even if it feels subtle, even if you cannot yet see it clearly, change is happening. The pain that once stood at the center of your life no longer holds the same power. It no longer rules you. It no longer decides your future. What you lived through does not define what you will live. The suffering that marked yesterday has no authority to determine tomorrow. You do not need to carry what no longer serves you, because the pain, yes, the pain has already begun to say goodbye. Few people talk about this, but there is a secret hidden behind all the pain you have endured. A secret that, once understood, changes not only the way you see your past, but especially the way you see what is still ahead. You know that feeling that suffering was wasted time, that all the tears, the sleepless nights, and all the effort in vain only served to delay your life. This is where the truth enters, the truth that almost no one tells. Nothing you went through was in vain. The secret is this: even pain carries a purpose. It does not come to punish you. It does not come to destroy you. It comes to make room, to shape you into something that perhaps would never have been born without that shock, without that pressure. It is like fire purifying gold. In the most intense heat, it loses its impurities and reveals its hidden shine. Life, in its harshest way, often pushes us to grow in places we never imagined. And suffering, as unfair as it may seem, is like a signal that something greater is asking to be born within you. Something that only appears when everything that was comfortable has been stripped away. That is the secret many do not want to see. Pain has an expiration date, but the wisdom it leaves is eternal. Every tear taught you to value smiles that once seemed ordinary. Every loss taught you to recognize the worth of what truly matters. Every fall gave you invisible muscles, strength, resilience, courage. And do you know what is most fascinating? This secret is not revealed all at once, like an explosion. It arrives slowly, like a whisper. Sometimes in the moment you finally realize you no longer suffer from what once shattered your world. Other times, when you look back and say, if I was able to get through that, I can face anything. The hidden truth is this: your pain was never just pain. It was also construction. It was also preparation. It was the broken ground from which what once felt like endless pain was never the end. It was the beginning of your rebirth. The turning point in life is subtle. It happens when you choose to rise, to try again, and to keep going despite scars and struggles. Happiness is not the absence of problems, but the courage to move forward with them. Even your past changes meaning. It was not your downfall, but your preparation. The truth is this: your pain carries purpose. It can transform into freedom, and what once weighed you down can become the fuel that pushes you toward a new life. Your suffering is not in vain. It is the foundation for your freedom. You will learn to let go of guilt, expectations, and memories that hold you back. True freedom begins within, allowing you to rise, transform pain into strength, and turn wounds into wisdom. This journey is not about speed, but direction. Every small step forward counts. You will move from merely surviving to truly living, discovering that what once tried to break you was actually teaching you to be unbreakable. Pain and hardship do not come to break you, they come to prepare you. You can transform suffering into strength and write a story different from what life tried to impose. True change begins within, and you are not alone on this journey. Every moment you stay present, every reflection you embrace, nurtures the seed of your inner strength. Step by step, you move from merely surviving to truly living, discovering the freedom and power that have always been within you. I don't say that you should take this step. I say it because you deserve it. You deserve to see that there is a path, that there is hope, that there is a version of yourself ready to be born. Stronger, more conscious, more free. The moment to decide has arrived. You have walked through every word, felt every emotion, realized that the pain that once seemed to hold you no longer has the same power. Now it is time to turn all of this into action. True change does not happen simply by listening or reflecting. It happens when you choose to take the first step. And that step doesn't need to be giant. It can be small, almost imperceptible. It could be a new thought, a simple decision not to blame yourself for the past, a small act of self-care, but it must exist because each step, even a timid one, pushes you further from what held you back and closer to the life you deserve. So I ask you, are you ready to claim your freedom? Ready not just to survive, but to truly live? Ready to look back and see that everything you went through was preparing you for this very moment? If your answer is yes, start now. Take a deep breath. Open your eyes to the opportunity before you and take the first step. Do not wait for someone else to do it for you. Do not wait for the conditions to be perfect. Freedom begins with your decision to begin. Every conscious choice, every small act of courage, every moment you rise, even when tired, is a brick in the construction of the life you deserve. And remember, you are not alone in this. Whenever you doubt yourself, return to these words. Feel again the strength that exists within you. The change you have longed for is within your reach. And the first step is to believe that you can achieve it. Now it is your turn. The next move is yours. Choose freedom. Choose life. Choose yourself.